Coming up, your weekly roundup of news from around the haunt industry. Welcome to the show. I'm Philip. On the HAN show, we bring you the haunt news, information, and education you need to prepare for Halloween. On Tuesdays, we bring you a roundup of news from haunts worldwide. Read more about these stories and so much more in our free weekly newsletter. Subscribe at the link in the show notes. And as always, for the news roundup, I'm passing it off to Daryl.
This message is from Philip Hernandez, publisher of the Haunted Attraction Network. Welcome to August. Hershey has a name for the economy we've been describing all year, Treatonimics, a consumer trend in which people prioritize joyful, memorable experiences and generosity over simply chasing the lowest price. That's the second Halloween survey in 2 weeks, both with findings that will sound familiar if you've been listening to this newsletter. We've covered who's still spending, the K-shaped economy, and the case that a haunt sells memories, not scares. Hershey's numbers put a bat on it. 41% of parents expect to be more involved in Halloween this year than last. 55% are in Halloween mode before October, and 67% already bought Halloween candy this summer. But the most interesting findings for us lie in the sentiment analysis. People may be pulling back on big purchases, but they're leaning harder into small, joyful ones. Halloween fans aren't looking for the bargain Halloween, they're hoping to create and participate in the most memorable one. Guests are still spending on Halloween, and they're looking for memorable experiences to connect with, even if it costs a little more. Value matters. This week, 8 Mickey's Not So Scary dates sold out before the events even open on Friday. Guests aren't waiting for October, and they weren't hunting for the cheapest tickets. They're hunting for the best night. The report also settles the question I raised back in June when Michaels bet its whole collection on nostalgia. I read that as anxiety since people get nostalgic for times that felt better. While what could still be the case, as several economists argue, it can also be the transformation of Halloween into a tradition-based holiday. People aren't extending Halloween because retailers put products on shelves earlier. They're extending it because the rituals, flavors, traditions, and treats give them something joyful to look forward to. Nostalgia is a look. Tradition is a behavior that repeats. That's why this week's retail news is a 100-year-old company still printing die cuts from its 1920s archive, a folk artist whose vintage-style cat sells across 3 chains, and Monster cereal turning 55. Guests aren't buying the past, they're buying the thing they do every year, and your haunt can be that thing. Which brings me to the IP wars. Sony landed at all 5 Howl-O-Scream parks, Jason is coming to 3 Six Flags parks, Ozzy completed an HHN lineup, and Jackson Wang is making a haunted house at Ocean Park. Now all the major theme parks have at least one IP-based haunt. That seems inevitable with the trend, and since their summers were struggling, the IP investment seems like a safer bet to guarantee crowds. However, the supply side is the fascinating part. License Global reports licensed products hit $338 billion last year, and 45% of brand owners now name location-based entertainment a top priority for the next 2 years, ahead of publishing, streaming, and video games. The licensors are shopping as hard as the parks are buying. If you're big enough to license, the sellers have never been more motivated. But when every major event is licensed, there's a market in the zag. Netherworld announced its 30th season this week and marked the milestone by going deeper into its own mythology. The same week, Sony arrived everywhere else. Every dollar it isn't spending on fees and approvals goes into the build, and after 30 years, its characters are the IP. Original is about to become the differentiator, and Treatonimics say that guest is paying for the memorable night either way. Also this week, Wild Waves runs its final Fright Fest before the park closes for good. Spirit Halloween moved into 85 former Party City stores. The Purge returns to Hollywood's Waterworld venue, and Tully's adds a new Pumpkin Land. Here's what you need to know this week. Halloween Horror Night news. Ozzy Osbourne, Prince of Darkness, comes to Halloween Horror Nights Orlando and Hollywood. Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights pays tribute to pioneer heavy metal icon Ozzy Osbourne in original haunted houses coming to both Orlando and Hollywood. Ozzy Osbourne, Prince of Darkness. Inspired by his prolific solo career, the houses invite guests to climb aboard the Crazy Train for a terrifying trip through his disturbing world of rock and roll. Created in collaboration with Osbourne's family, the houses will feature music from his solo albums. While both Orlando and Hollywood both use the same maze, they will run separate versions of the house. each built at opposite halves of Osbourne's career. Universal Studios Hollywood runs the story chronologically. The house starts in Birmingham, England, home to John Michael Ozzy Osbourne, and opens on Crazy Train. Guests move forward through the decades into the Osbourne Asylum, a section drawn from the Diary of a Madman album, and through the successive version of the Ozzy persona, Madman Ozzy, Werewolf Ozzy, and finally, the Prince of Darkness, the name he earned in the 70s. Universal Orlando skips the origin story and goes to the heavier end of the catalog. Guests pass through ancient ruins and dungeons before boarding the Crazy Train into the realm built from Osbourne's album covers, specifically Diary of a Madman, Bark at the Moon, The Ultimate Sin, and Black Rain. Universal describes it as drawing on the sound and imagery that defined the later years of his career. HHN Orlando runs select dates August 29th through November 2nd, and HHN Hollywood runs select dates September 4th through November 2nd. Follow the links in our show notes to read the full story. The Purge: Dangerous Waters returns to HHN Hollywood. For its fourth consecutive year, The Purge: Dangerous Waters returns to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood in Universal City, California. This fiery stunt spectacular puts you in a world where laws won't save you, bringing the unpredictable terror of The Purge to life, complete with adrenaline-filled action sequences, stunts, spectacular lighting and laser effects, high-fall fire burns, and massive explosions. In other theme park news, the Halloween IP Wars. Licensors just named location-based entertainment to top priority, and parks are buying. License Global released its Top Global Licensors 2026 report this week. Licensed consumer products hit $338.33 billion in retail sales in 2025, up 10% in a year, and 66% since 2020. Buried in the forecast section is the number that matters for our industry. 45% of brand owners named location-based entertainment, attractions, and live events as top category priority for the next 18 to 24 months. That puts physical experiences ahead of publishing, TV and streaming, and video games. Nearly half of the world's biggest IP owners are actively shopping for what parks are buying. This is what makes 2026 different from every previous Halloween season. Supply and demand are surging at the same time. Parks need proven draws because fall is now load-bearing. Licensors need physical experiences because that is where fandom monetizes next. Both sides of the table are motivated, which means more deals, faster, at every chain, and less time spent asking whether the deal actually fits. I Know What You Did Last Summer comes to Hallowscream. For the first time ever, the Fisherman Killer will be brought to life at a major Halloween event. I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Final Catch, opens September 11th at Hallowscream in SeaWorld Orlando, Florida, SeaWorld San Diego, California, and SeaWorld San Antonio in Texas. The house is licensed from Sony Pictures and draws on the first installment of the franchise. Per United Parks, guests wander through horrifying recreations of several unforgettable movie scenes and into the events that unfold during the original Southport Massacre. The company describes the walkthrough as a nightmare where every secret has a price and every corner hides the vengeful fisherman. Anaconda gets 2 different haunted houses at Busch Gardens. Sony Pictures' Anaconda is coming with 2 Busch Garden parks on September 11th, and the 2 will not have the same show. Busch Gardens Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, Florida, will receive Anaconda, Fear Has No Escape, while Busch Gardens Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia, will receive Anaconda, Dead on Arrival. Both houses share a setup based on the 1997 film. Guests are sent deep into the Amazon to search for a missing film crew, quickly turning into a fight for survival. From there, the parks split. The company describes them as 2 unique tales while honoring the legend of an iconic film. Splitting one license into 2 distinct builds is unusual. When a chain licenses a property, it usually runs the same house at every park it gets, which is what United Parks did the same with I Know What You Did Last Summer across its 3 SeaWorld parks. Anaconda is the opposite approach at the 2 Busch Garden properties, and it means a guest who does both parks are not repeating a house. Will intellectual property save Hallowscream? Hallowscream built its identity on avoiding IP. Original stories meant the licensing money went into the product instead, while Universal paid for rights before building a single set. That calculus has flipped in a market where guests gravitate to what they already know. The risk is the pattern other parks have followed. Pay for the IP out of the same budget, build less event, and blame the IP when attendance disappoints. Guests buy the whole event, and while the event shrinks, one house cannot cover the gap. Anaconda is an animal attack story at a company historically sensitive about how animals are portrayed, and neither film carries the pull of a Halloween staple. The two Anaconda storylines suggest houses built to swap parks next year, the right instinct, since IP buying power only works at corporate scale, and the next step is infrastructure consistent enough to rotate shows between parks. One haunted house does not make a premier Halloween event. Busch Gardens Williamsburg Howl-O-Scream 2026. Everything announced so far. Howl-O-Scream returns to Busch Gardens Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia. 25 select nights, September 11th through November 1st. Like its sister event in Orlando, Tampa, and San Diego, it is included with regular park admission rather than separately ticketed. As of July 31st, the event has announced 6 haunted houses, including the IP-based Anaconda Dead on Arrival, 2 new original houses, Werewolves, The Wolf's Revenge, and Bloodshot, 2 revamped mazes, Deathwater Bayou, Mort, and Killarney Diner, Condemned, and 1 returning favorite, Clowntown. No territories, the event's term for scare zones, have been announced yet. Jason Bloodrain Haunted Maze comes to 3 Six Flags parks. An all-new Friday the 13th Haunted Maze is coming to 3 Six Flags parks this Halloween season. Jason Bloodrain, the iconic hockey mask-wearing villain, is back and coming for guests at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio, Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, and Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina. Concept art, storyline, and per-park specifics have not been released yet. 8 Mickey's Not So Scary dates sold out before opening night. Over 20% of the dates for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in Orlando, Florida, have sold out prior to opening night. As of August 1st, 8 of the event's 38 nights are sold out, including the event's first 4 dates, August 7th, 11th, 13th, and 18th, as well as September 4th and October 9th, 13th, and 31st. The lowest price nights of the season sold out first. Remaining dates run $139 to $224 per person. The fact that August dates are selling out before the event even opens is a clear signal of the season creep pattern we covered in our Halloween 2026 Trends Report. The front of the calendar is no longer soft, and summer is becoming the season's new shoulder. At Walt Disney World, Halloween decor will go up in the first week of August and stay up until nearly November, when a Christmas overlay follows. That is roughly 3 months of Halloween, which is the point. Halloween has expanded to fill a full season at the world's largest theme parks. Six Flags St. Louis Fright Fest 2026. Full lineup, a new house, and love at First Fright's final year. Six Flags St. Louis in Eureka, Missouri, has posted its complete Fright Fest 2026 lineup, the park's first under the new operator Enchanted Parks. 4 haunted houses including 1 new build, 7 scare zones, and 4 shows including 2 new productions. The event runs select nights September 12th through November 1st, and Fright Fest admission is included with valid park admissions, while the haunted houses require a separate wristband or maze pass. The event's newest house, Gordy's Gruesome Revenge, operates as a fun candy trail during the day and turns into the Haunt, a gruesome pumpkin patch filled with diabolical pumpkins and pumpkin patch residents at night, enacting a day-to-night flip on a single set. 2 of the event's 4 shows are new for 2026. Blood Bank Cabaret, a vampire-themed bar with performers singing some ghoulish tunes, and Monster Mash Bash, a concert of Halloween hits packed with dancers, fog, lights, and thrilling special effects. The returning show, Love at First Fright, the Jack and Katie and Witchy's Castle production, is listed as being in its final year. Six Flags St. Louis rebrands itself as Mid-America by Enchanted Parks for 2027, so this is the last Fright Fest under the Six Flags St. Louis name. Wild Waves Fright Fest runs its final season. 2026 is the final season of Fright Fest at Wild Waves Theme and Water Park in Federal Way, Washington, because the park is closing for good after the fall season. Fright Fest opens for 15 nights, Fridays through Sundays, October 2nd through November 1st. The event will feature 2 haunted houses, 2 scare zones, a live DJ, and a 21 and over vampire bar. Booville, the park's daytime family-friendly Halloween celebration, runs Saturdays and Sundays September 26th through November 1st. Booville sits in Kittyland and is a scare-free zone for ages 12 and under, with trick-or-treating, a hay maze, face painting, costume contests at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m., a bubble show, and a magician. It closes each evening at 6 p.m. as the park transitions to the scarier Fright Fest. Wild Waves announced the park's closure on December 10, 2025. Kieran Burke, who owns operator Premier Parks, said the park has run millions in losses since reopening after the COVID shutdown, which forces us to discontinue operations at the end of our 2026 season. While the event shares a name with the Six Flags Halloween event, Six Flags does not operate a park in Washington and has no affiliation with Wild Waves Theme and Water Park. Jackson Wang is building a haunted house at Ocean Park. Jackson Wang, the acclaimed rapper, singer, and songwriter, is building an original haunted house at Ocean Park Halloween Fest 2026 in Aberdeen, Hong Kong, which runs September 5th to November 1st. The house is based on Under the Castle, a horror IP Wang co-created, and follows a string of Halloween events Wang produced across Asia. The haunt's debut at Hong Kong marks Wang's return to the very place that inspired his horror IP. He has said he walked Ocean Park's Halloween haunted houses as a teenager with his childhood friend Henry Chung, now Team Wang Design's chief executives, and those visits gave him an ambition to build a haunted house of his own. He has since built one in Shanghai, one at Universal Studios Singapore, and one in Bangkok. The castle goes up at the summit, the hilltop half of the park reached by cable car, and runs on select dates in October rather than the full season. Ocean Park describes an ancient castle environment built around the brand's signature dark, gothy aesthetics, with a walk through a gloomy nightmarescape where every corner is perfectly designed photo spot. Limited edition versions of the character Pumpkin and Spooky debut at the fest. The park says more experiences wait beyond the castle, with details to come. In attraction news, It comes to Cosm's 87-foot domes. It opens in Cosm's 87-foot LED domes on August 28th, playing Los Angeles, Dallas, and Atlanta. It is the first horror title Cosm has programmed. Cosm's shared reality format puts the film on an 87-foot dome that wraps overhead and into your peripheral vision, rebuilt for the dome rather than projected bigger, in a 1,700 guest room with a full bar. Tully's Farm adds a new land to its Pumpkin Festival. A new area is coming to the Pumpkin Festival at Tully's Farm in West Sussex, UK. Pumpkin Valley, running September 19th through October 31st, the farm bills the event as Europe's largest pumpkin festival, and it shares a site with Shocktoberfest, the Scream Park Tully calls Europe's largest. The Pumpkin Valley sits inside the existing festival footprint. In it, guests wander along winding paths, with wooden bridges leading across gentle streams and peaceful ponds. It includes giant pumpkin sculptures, a pumpkin farmhouse, and a hobbit house, with chrysanthemums planted throughout the area. Pumpkin Nights returns on select evenings from September 26th through October 31st. Guests pick pumpkins after dark, walk illuminated woodland trails, and get live music across 2 stages, plus seasonal cocktails and street food. Running a day event and a separately ticketed night event on one footprint is the same economics that pushed U.S. haunts towards daytime festivals and Halloween-adjacent programming. Tully's is doing it on a site that already hosts a Scream Park, 3 separate seasonal festivals, and an escape room business. Netherworld announces their 30th season themes. Netherworld in Stone Mountain, Georgia, has announced the 2 haunts for its 30th season of Screams, Curse of the Collector, and Beyond Oblivion, Legacy of Evil. Netherworld frames the season as a celebration of the mythology that has defined Netherworld for decades, reuniting legendary villains, towering creatures, monstrous battles, and cinematic environments inspired by the attraction's original storytelling. The haunt was founded in 1997 by Billy Messina and Ben Armstrong, both film and television veterans, and has never run on licensed film properties. In a week where United Parks put Sony licenses into all 5 Hello Scream parks, a 30-year haunt marking the milestone by going deeper into its own mythology is the counter-programming. Additionally, this is the opposite of how the seasons usually split. Philip and Scott argued on Green Tagged in June that Halloween and Christmas run on different engines. Halloween needs novelty, Christmas needs tradition. A 30th anniversary season built from returning monsters arriving the same year Universal fronts its own anniversary with returning icons, is Halloween borrowing Christmas's playbook. Netherworld runs select nights September 18th through November 7th. Hellbilly Hollow, the Alabama haunt that became a horror movie. Hellbilly Hollow in Vincent, Alabama, a haunted attraction that has operated since 2012, is the shooting location and namesake of a horror movie opening in select theaters on Friday, September 25th. The film, Hellbilly Hollow, is directed by Kevin Wayne and stars Kurt Deemer, a rock musician turned actor and producer. The story follows a team of paranormal YouTubers who drive to the Alabama backwoods to film at a haunted attraction the night before Halloween. What they find is Tickles, a disfigured, childlike clown played by Wang, and his manipulative caretaker brother, Bull, played by Deemer. One by one, the investigators and the group of local thrill-seekers fall victim to the siblings' games. Production shot entirely on location at the haunt. Executive producer and production designer Mike Denard built practical carnival set pieces for the shoot, including a whack-a-troll, high striker, acid darts, and a car dunk. Tickles and Bull originated in the shoot on the property rather than arriving as a licensed horror name attached to a maze, and Deemer is describing the attraction as the basis for more films. We came up with a slate of outrageous, never-before-seen kills, Deemer said. From day one, we knew this would be the start of something bigger. A series of films built around a place too complex to range siblings and the culture they inhabit. Before the film reaches theaters, The Haunt runs Hell Night across 2 nights in August 14th and 15th. It is an 18 and over event, with the operators explicit that nobody enters without an ID. Hellbilly Hollow's 2026 season runs September 19th through November 2nd. The Halloween season is almost upon us, and haunts around the country are announcing their dates, new additions, special events, and more. To help you manage the myriad of updates, the Haunted Attraction Network has compiled comprehensive guides to the top haunts in the US and top theme park events around the world. Bookmark the following important pages for reference by following the links in our show note, and check back often for updates as new information is released. New this week, Spirit Halloween Locations 2026, every store state by state. Netherworld Haunted House, date, tickets, and what to know before you go. Also previously mentioned, when do haunted houses open in 2026? The best and scariest haunted houses in America, the top haunts list. Halloween Horror Nights 2026, dates, tickets, and lineups for every park. Disney Halloween 2026, every park worldwide. Fright Fest 2026, the complete guide to Six Flags Halloween events at every park. Hello Scream 2026, the complete guide to all 5 United Parks locations. Orlando Halloween events, every park, party, and haunt. Halloween Time at Disneyland 2026, the complete guide. Haunted Houses in California 2026, dates, tickets, and what's new. Halloween Horror Nights 2026, hours, costume policy, and know before you go. Haunted Houses in Texas 2026, dates, tickets, and what's new. Halloween Horror Nights Tickets 2026, complete guide to all Universal Parks. Halloween 2026 trends, season creep, the food gap, and where guests find you. Mars has released its annual Tricks, Treats, and Trends report featuring 11 slides summarizing a morning consult survey of 3,001 U.S. adults fielded online June 1st through 5th of 2026, weighted to be nationally representative with a stated margin of error of 2%. 4 of the report's findings particularly speak to haunters. The food opportunity. Mars found that 71% of U.S. adults want sensory or textual experiences from treats. Actively seeking out seasonal flavors, colors, or shapes when snacking runs highest with the youngest buyers. 74% of Gen Z, 72% of Millennials, 61% of Gen X, and 45% Baby Boomers. Audit your food against seasonal, textural, and specific. Not more food. One item that is unmistakably yours and unmistakably October. Fewer than 10% of haunts do food at all, so the bar for standing out is all the way on the floor. The season is stretching, and not only at retail. Mars found that 57% of U.S. adults believe Halloween is no longer one day but a full season, and that 66% would buy their favorite Halloween candy year-round. Use the 57% when you negotiate with a landlord, a city, a sponsor, or a partner venue. 57% of U.S. adults believe Halloween is a full season is a citable line from a nationally represented survey. It is a stronger argument for a longer permit window than anything this industry has previously been able to point at. Adults still want to trick or treat. Mars found that 72% of U.S. adults agree certain candy brands feel like Halloween and the holiday would not be the same without them. That 75% say a shared candy bowl builds community, and that 71% believe the candy they hand out says something about them as a host. Strip out the brand framing, and what is left is a finding about ritual and reciprocity. People want to give and receive treats, and they attach identity to it. The events already selling that to adults are among the most reliably sold out things we cover. Put a treat in the guest's hand on the way out. The 72% and 75% findings say the exchange itself carries weight, and that it is the lowest cost item on the list, where discovery happens and where it doesn't. Mars found that 53% of Gen Z use TikTok to discover Halloween or Halloween candy trends, and 49% use YouTube. But that when they buy in person. 43% at large retailers, 41% at supermarkets, 18% online from a retailer's site, and 10% through TikTok Shop. Split your social measurement. Stop asking whether TikTok sold tickets and start asking whether guests arrive already knowing your characters. Then put something on YouTube, because half of Gen Z is there and your competitors are not. While the report is a useful snapshot of consumer sentiment, it is important to note that it is a sample, not a massive industry study. Mars sells Halloween candy, and a report concluding that Halloween is bigger, longer, and more emotionally significant than you thought is a report that serves Mars. Read it that way. Use it as directional support for decisions you are already making. Do not build a season on it alone. Spirit Halloween has moved into 85 former Party City stores this year. Halloween City is opening up 85 stores this season in buildings that used to be Party City, the party goods chain that liquidated last year and is not the biggest number on the list. Joanne accounts for 137. Spirit Store Locator went live on July 29th, and most listings quietly named the business that was there before. We pulled all 1,299 locations listed that day. 1,102 of them, 85%, named the former tenant. Party City is the one worth sitting with. It was the closest thing Spirit had to a year-round competitor in costumes and party goods. It went under, and Spirit is now selling Halloween out of 85 of its buildings. California has 10 of them, New York 9, and Texas, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Illinois 6 each. 15 of the chains Spirit replaced have fully liquidated or wound down, totaling 518 stores, which is 47% of the 1,102 locations that name a former tenant, and 39.9% of all 1,299 listed. New Hampshire has more Spirit Halloween stores per person than any state. We read all 1,299 Spirit Halloween locations listed on the company's store locator on July 29th and divided each state's store count by its population. New Hampshire has 7.86 Spirit Halloween stores per million residents, more than any other state in America. California, which has the most stores of anywhere by a wide margin of 142 stores, ranks 20th. Montana is last in America with 0.89 stores per million, a single store for a state of 1.1 million people. Our analysis has two caveats. This is a single-day snapshot taken hours after the locator went live, and Spirit says it is opening 1,575 stores this season, so the rankings will shift as the map fills through August. Additionally, Spirit puts stores where it can lease space cheaply and quickly, so a high per-person figure says as much about the state's vacant retail as about how much anyone there likes Halloween. Michael Myers Halloween 2026. Every product and what it costs, from masks to collectibles to a 7-foot-tall animatronic. The iconic Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise is everywhere this season. Target lists 73 Michael Myers items for Halloween 2026. The cheapest is a $13.08 mask. The most expensive Michael Myers products of the season is a $349.99 animatronic at Spirit Halloween. Much of the American vintage Halloween look, the grinning die-cut jack-o'-lantern, the arch-backed black cat, the honeycomb tissue witch crossing a moon, was drawn for one company in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. The Beastal Company has been printing Halloween decorations since the 1920s and is still printing them from the same archive today, which is what makes dating a piece a real question with a real answer. There are 3 eras of Beastal: Originals, 2023 Party Partners reissues, and 2012 in-house reissues. The prices vary widely between originals and reissues for collector. Here are the differences. Originals are anything predating the reissue program. Beginning in 2003, Beastal licensed a firm called Party Partners to reissue a limited number of classic designs. Collector Mark B. Ledenbach, who wrote the Standard Identification Guide, has indicated that these are the hardest pieces to identify. Although the packaging was clearly marked denoting the item as new, the actual items were not, so collectors had to rely on their knowledge of highlight colors, paper stock types, and size to differentiate new from old. Once the packaging is gone, there is nothing printed on the new item to give it away, and Ledenbach writes that the association caused confusion in the marketplace at the time. 2012 in-house reissues announced themselves. Each piece contains 2 copyright dates, an original and an updated one, and mark it as a modern reissue. Joanna Parker Halloween 2026, who she is and where her designs actually land. If you've picked up a grinning black cat mug or a blush-cheeked ghost shaker in the past few years without knowing whose art it was probably Joanna Parker's. She is one of the most widely sold Halloween artists in American retail and one of the least recognized by name because her work reaches stores through multiple manufacturers and none of them put her name on the shelf tag. Joanna Parker's new 2026 Halloween ceramics are in store now, spanning 36 new designs across HomeGoods, Marshalls, and TJ Maxx. The main 2026 collection is made by Transpac Brands and covers teapots, mugs, canisters, candy bowls, and salt and pepper shakers. Transpac also makes a handful of smaller items such as tea towels, ornaments, and soap dispensers that land at both Michaels and Targets, which is the one place in her catalog where you can price shop the exact same product. For pieces that look most like Parker studio work without paying original prices, check out the Bethany Lowe's Designs folk art figures sold at Michaels. Parker also sells originals directly on her own shop. Grandin Road Halloween Haven 2026. The 13 best pieces from $69 to $699. Grandin Road has released its Halloween Haven 2026 collection online with some items already showing a low stock warning. Unlike Home Depot and At Home, Grandin Road is the premium end of retail featuring sculpted resin life-size figures and lit yard pieces. We at the Haunted Attraction Network have picked 13 of our favorite pieces, ranging from $69 to $699 that are worth checking out. Follow the links in our show notes to learn about all 13. Buc-ee's 2026 Halloween Collection. Halloween has landed at Buc-ee's, the chain of travel centers and convenience stores located largely in the southern U.S. The chain's 2026 Halloween collection, called Quick Bites Spooky Nights, includes 13 items featuring the chain's mascot Buc-ee as a vampire in a purple cape outside of a haunted house version of the store. The catch is that none of it is on Buc-ee's.com. Buc-ee's sells the merchandise exclusively in its stores and nowhere else. Pottery Barn's 2026 Halloween collection is live. Pottery Barn's 2026 Halloween collection is online, featuring tabletop and entertaining staples, dinnerware, lit ghosts, and terracotta pumpkins. The Haunted Attraction Network has highlighted 23 of our favorite items, ranging from $15 to $199. From lit ghosts, terracotta pumpkins, Midnight Manor, and Scary Squad to IP favorites like The Nightmare Before Christmas and Mickey and Friends, there's a wide variety of items to elevate your Halloween dinner parties. Coraline, Beetlejuice, Corpse Bride, and Wednesday get new Halloween Funko Pops. Funko has 4 new Halloween Pop figures on their way, each from the Patchwork subline. Pop Coraline, Pop Beetlejuice, Pop Emily, and Pop Wednesday Addams. Coraline looks similar to the other Mother's Rag doll, with her yellow raincoat, blue yarn hair, and holding her feisty black cat. Beetlejuice gets 2 mismatched button eyes, one black and one red, and a split suit featuring black and white stripes on one side and the red wedding tux on the other, with visible thread running through the seam. From Tim Burton's Corpse Bride, Emily's left eye has a black button and the green maggot is climbing out of it. Her gown is rebuilt out of mismatched panels, blue swirls on one leg and butterflies on the other, and she carries the bouquet in her skeletal hand. Finally, Wednesday is split vertically rather than stitched at the limbs. One half of her is in the Nevermore Academy blazer with a crest, and the other half is gray and webbed. Seams straight down the center of the face and body. She comes with her trusty companion, Thing. All 4 are listed on Funko's site as coming soon. When available, they will retail for $14.99 each. Disney Store's Halloween shop is live with 537 items. The Disney Store's Halloween shop is up for 2026 with 537 items across costumes, apparel, plush, ornaments, pins, and home decor. The full shop runs deep into apparel. Halloween ear headbands, a woman's sleep set, a sequin split jersey, a Mickey Mouse Halloween hockey jersey, a glow-in-the-dark Mickey pin, and kids' PJ Pals. We've highlighted 5 picks worth the click. The Mickey Mouse Halloween 2026 plush is a Disney Store exclusive at $29.99. Dressed in a skeleton costume with an orange bow tie, and it carries a posted promo. $20 Mickey Mouse Halloween plush with any $25 purchase per the product page, which makes it the easy add-on once everything else is in your cart. A Mickey Mouse Jack-o'-lantern stoneware Halloween candy bowl is $34.99, and it is the piece from the set most likely to come out of the cabinet every October for the next decade. From Lilo & Stitch, the Stitch as Mummy Halloween ornament is $26.99, with Stitch grinning through the wrappings and holding a jack-o'-lantern candy bucket. The Mickey Mouse Happy Halloween ornament is also $26.99 for anyone building a Halloween tree. The Minnie Mouse as Witch Halloween minifigure is the priciest pick at $39.99 and the most shelf display of the 5. Old Navy's Disney Halloween collection, Haunted Harvest. Old Navy has launched Haunted Harvest, a Disney collection built around Mickey and Friends in fall and Halloween mode. The collection page lists 45 items covering women, men, kids, toddlers, babies, and pets, priced from $7.99 crew socks to $49.99 adult flannels and sweatshirts. with Old Navy pitching it as Pumpkin Patch Bound and Mickey and Friends fits. Does Hobby Lobby sell Halloween decorations? No, and the company said why. Does Hobby Lobby sell Halloween decorations? The short answer for anyone typing this into the search bar: no. Hobby Lobby does not carry Halloween decorations, and the company formally discontinued the line. In a statement provided through its corporate customer service and reported by Snopes, Hobby Lobby said, "The decision on what to offer our customers are based on many factors, including customer interest and what sells well. Our seasonal merchandise assortment carried at Hobby Lobby is always constantly changing, and we evaluate it annually. Due to the need to find additional space for some of our stronger categories as well as our newer ones, the decision was made over the last couple of years to discontinue several seasonal product lines, including Mardi Gras, Halloween, and Hanukkah. Per that report, the decision was made before Christmas 2022, so the chain did carry Halloween before dropping it. Although there is no Halloween department, the Christian-owned chain does stock Fall 2026 essentials featuring decor pumpkins, tabletop decor, candles, pillows and throws, decorative lighting, outdoor decor, rugs and doormats, wreaths, scarecrows, party supplies, crafts, apparel, and more. So, a fall porch, a Thanksgiving table, or a neutral autumn mantle is fully buildable here. A jack-o'-lantern, a witch, or anything that says the word Halloween is not. Convention news. Midsummer Scream takes place this weekend. Halloween and Horror Convention Midsummer Scream takes place this weekend, August 7th to 9th at the Long Beach Convention Center in Long Beach, California. Midsummer Scream is the Halloween and Horror Convention that kicks off the season in Southern California each summer. The show floor packs more than 300 exhibitors selling props, masks, art, and haunt merchandise. Alongside panels and presentation from major theme parks and haunts, live entertainment, workshops in the Hall of Shadows, a convention floor dark zone where SoCal home haunts and professional groups build working walkthrough experiences. The 2026 convention theme is horror musicals, and this year's guest list include John Carpenter, 8 members of the Scream cast and crew, and Dee Wallace. Some upcoming events this August through October 2026, Midsummer Scream from Long Beach, California, August 7th through 9th, and Creep It Real OC Expo in Santa Ana, California, from September 11th through 13th.
And that's all for the news this week. Today's episode was produced by me, Philip Hernandez, with reporting by Daryl Plunkey, post-production by David Swope. This Haunt News Update is a production of the Haunted Attraction Network, and you can sign up to our weekly newsletter at hauntedattractionnetwork.com. Support for this episode comes from Gantom Lighting and Controls. Until next time, Haunters, stay scary.
This is a Haunted Attraction Network production.